I would hope that if, in fact, we get to the point where the volume of cases is such and organizations like the CDC recommend, CDC doesn't mandate anything, I mean, recommends that people wear masks, I would hope that they abide by the recommendation and take into account the risk to themselves and to their families.
Well, Big Tony wants you to wear a mask again. Oh, we could end it right there. That's Dr. Fauci peering into our lives once again, warning us that mask mandates will listen up. Mask mandates might be coming back.
That's exactly how it feels when someone says we may recommend a return to 2020. So let's go off the wall to understand why these masks are being reintroduced and the response from some politicians to return to 2020. Here's what's going on across the country. You may at this point know someone who's had COVID recently. I certainly do. You certainly do. It's back. COVID has never gone anywhere, and there seems to be a new variant that is making its way around the country. We've had an increase of almost 16% in hospitalizations compared to the prior week. That's August 20th to 26th, Pete.
You know what, I probably shouldn't be this way, but, you know, we went through it once. I still don't know about all these numbers. Remember all the numbers we had about was it died from COVID, with COVID? It all came with different pots of money regarding how it was. So the numbers, this is what the CDC is saying to us right now. But common sense tells us, yes, there's more COVID out there right now because we know people that have had it.
And this is also the reason this number could simultaneously be accurate and at the same time be meaningless is because the whole point is there's very little we can do to stop transmission. Yeah. Not masks, not vaccines. None of it has stopped transmission of COVID.
They told us it was going to, and it didn't. Oh, he's riled up. I can see it right now. Some schools, though, in certain states are starting to issue mask mandates. An elementary school in Maryland, a junior high school in Alabama, the city schools in is that Talladega? Like where they play where the NASCAR race is? Yeah. I don't believe they're going to go for that there. And then a couple of universities pushing the masks coming back.
Yeah, but meanwhile, in California, in Huntington Beach, you saw a ban on mask mandates by a narrow vote of 4-3. It's interesting you bring up Talladega or Georgia, some of these districts, while California and Huntington Beach, they narrowly push back on the idea of mandates. And I think that tells you this is a reaction to some of the severe mandates and severe crackdowns that you saw throughout 2020 in places like California.
Still a 4-3 vote, barely passed. But in a lot of these cities, they're saying we're going to get ahead of this because you see it coming. States and governors are doing the same. And in fact, the senator in Washington, D.C. has now proposed a bill that would prevent the federal government from doing any mandates at all. J.D. Vance out of Ohio pushing to ban masks in the Freedom to Breathe Act.
Yeah, J.D. Vance tried. He tried to make sure there wouldn't be any
said
mandates.
He tried, yes.
Yeah, because it was thwarted by Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts. Now, I want to quickly point to that clip that sent me spinning in circles of Dr. Fauci on CNN. Respectfully, he was pushed back on in that interview. They brought up the fact there's no studies that really suggest masks, or the vast majority of studies suggest it doesn't do anything. You know what Fauci said, Pete? He said, yes, it's true on a broad level, data doesn't support the fact that masks could help. But on an individual basis, we do believe. So explain. Is that
How
science?
Does that
no
work?
Broad data, but individually we believe that voodoo dolls or security blankets could help.
Could be effective. Yes, interesting. By the way, you tried to pass it through unanimous consent, which only takes one senator to block it. So Ed Markey out of Massachusetts, where so many good ideas come from, has blocked it. He did it based on saying that health officials should have the freedom to make those decisions. So it's not senators and congressmen that should set the parameters. We give it over to doctors and the scientists. Yet again, we give it back to Fauci. He should make the call.
The people that are elected by a democratic process should not be encumbering the local officials who are appointed to office.
Experts. It's got to be experts.
No plans yet from the White House. But again, as Fauci said.
But he's walking around with a mask because his wife has COVID, and then he takes it off in front of the Medal of Honor recipient. And to your point, Fauci said, we don't mandate, we recommend. And by the way, every school district in the country follows those CDC recommendations. That's why it matters.
That's why it matters.
We go by CDC guidelines. Oh, there's an excuse to do what the government tells you to do.
Here's some of the responses from GOP presidential candidates. Donald Trump, simply, we will not.
It was a great video, by the way. He put out a straight-up video that spoke for a lot of people that said that.
No mask mandates, no vaccine mandates, Vivek Ramaswamy.
There will be a reckoning for the harm they've done to kids. I mean, listen, he rose to his status because of the strong stance in many levels he took about keeping Florida open.
We're still looking for a reckoning, and they're moving back to re-implementing it in the future.
It's true. Not a chance. And we're not co-parenting with the government from GOP candidates. Governor Hochul, though, here in New York City, has suggested that they're actually distributing N95 masks to students in New York State, but they're not required to wear them. They're not required to wear them.
All right. Science.